It's my pleasure to welcome Mohini Paither from Varsity College. Mohini, over to you.
Excellent. Okay, so today I'm going to be discussing how we automated our research topic generation to maintain quality of proposals for the students in the academic institution. So we were faced with the challenge that we need to establish a knowledge base, as research practice is a second semester module and an introduction to research in their first semester. So we wanted to be able to provide bespoke student support for 67 students throughout the research process. Now, I realize for most of you in public institutions, those sample sizes seem quite minute, but this is my first time lecturing research, so it was quite overwhelming to endeavor to support so many students in so many different topics. So the topics required often very outside the curriculum knowledge, and the students' focus needed to be directed into effective research methodologies so they didn't feel like their time and efforts were wasted. We wanted to engage and develop students' critical and analytical thinking, which of course are the 21st century skills we've heard so much about over the last 2 days. And we wanted to encourage participation, and so that we could add additional knowledge during the semester and not make it a regurgitation of the first semester. On the right-hand side, in true virtual conference style, we have a QR code. This is a research guidance form. If you have your digital device available and you'd like to participate or give this form a try, please feel free to scan the form. I will, of course, make the QR code available a little bit later again. We employed action research to meet this challenge. Obviously, that involved planning, action, analysis, and reflection. Now, in the past, we've had some success with automation. We've automated our plagiarism process. We did paperless registration during COVID. We do student tracking. Academic counseling documentation was automated, even HR contracting. On the left-hand side, here is the QR guidance QR form again. This is an example of the form that our students were asked to complete. They were asked a simple series of questions, including their email address. Then we asked them, what would they be measuring? Are they measuring impact, influence, perceptions, relationships? We asked them to identify their variables. As you can see, this played a very big part in planning their research throughout the semester. We asked them to identify their independent variable, which is, of course, the controllable variable, and we gave them a very simple example. Here we try to examine how English proficiency impacts the number of plagiarism cases. Our independent variable is best described as a theory, but students were offered a few selections. Students were asked to identify the research paradigm and provided with a short description, as well as the they were going to evaluate and where the study they were proposing would be conducted. And to identify the population. Okay, so each form was submitted by each student. And in a minute, the system formulaically generates 3 research topic suggestions based on their responses. So as you can see here, the lecturer is also included in the email, and the student then engages their critical thinking in evaluating which of these topic suggestions is best suited for their research. The results? Of our 67 third-year students, only one of them is currently at risk. He has a full-time job, so we're doing a little bit of remedial action, but he's doing exceptionally well considering his challenges. Skills development, well, I think the critical thinking and evaluation of something that was externally created engaged our students' analytical minds as well. We were also able to create a research database because all responses and development of their research, because as their research developed, so did their topics, elements were all tracked and recorded on a SharePoint list system. Further developments, we've now integrated AI tracking as well. This allows us to track the efficacy of the email dialogue between students and lecturers. So we simply employ AI tracker provided by Microsoft, and it alerts us to using a Teams chatbot whether the student is experiencing a negative sentiment towards the module or experiencing any sort of trepidation about the topic that they're researching. The wonderful thing about this model is that the basic framework is scalable. We've applied it to 3 different research elements thus far. It enabled mass tracking and allowed bespoke student support and guidance. It also allowed for theme identification. We were allowed to group students and create research pods based on their research elements, suggestions, and elements that they had selected. So students that had chosen, cryptocurrencies could be grouped together. This encouraged co-creativity, peer-to-peer learning, as well as making it more efficient for a lecturer to deliver feedback. This is an example of the tabulated research summaries. As you can see on the left-hand side, we have all of these students' information. This also allows for ease of reference when students are asking for one-on-one consultations. We've applied it to the titles, the background, and the abstract research elements thus far. So the research support path throughout the semester, initially we started with topic construction. It allowed for key identification of variables and topic approval tracking. The background construction allowed students to identify key elements of a background, and it encouraged a Socratic dialogue, which we then use the AI sentiment tracker to track effectiveness. But the Socratic approach allowed us to ask students questions to deepen their understanding and our understanding as well as enhancing co-creativity. And it's been quite a lovely bonding experience, and it's allowed us to enhance our knowledge on a far deeper level. Then for the literature review, we created an abstract construction. This allowed students to focus on their golden thread development. They simply needed to expand their abstract and find academic sources to, challenge what they thought, prove themselves wrong, and in that way gain the deepest understanding of the immutable facts of their research variables. The research methodology is the one we'll be working on next. That one is still currently in development. That's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, please.
Thank you so much. Simone has a question. Simone, do you want to put your mic on and ask your question, please?
Yes, I just wanted to find out how is this your research and everything affected by the POPIA Act with the tracking and ensuring the students' information is kept private?
Hi, Simone. We don't share the information outside of the lecture in class. So the students are just encouraged to discuss on their terms what their topics are about, explore different theories, and discuss how the different, for example, we have a group of students that are looking at cryptocurrency. Some of them are looking at how culture impacts adoption, and others are looking at whether cryptocurrency can actually function as money in the real world. And through their discussions, they're looking at different economic points. And because their studies are localized to South Africa, it's encouraged a lot of engagement, and in their interaction, they've actually created quite interesting insights. It's been quite fascinating for me as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Moini. I think for us who are working in the research environment also, this is like something amazing that we can put our students to the test on an application like this. So thank you so much. Thank you everybody for attending this session. Please leave the session and join the next session.
No more questions?
Sorry, now no more question. Time's up now. So